Hi everyone, welcome to week 4. Good news, you all are more than halfway through the 7-week course. So congratulations. I've really enjoyed reading your submissions, both discussion board and just your own individual submissions. So this week we are going to look at the C stage of PRAC, which is the first kind of like set of phases for TFCBT, and that is cognitive coping and the cognitive triangle. So cognitive triangle, right? You'll see me do this a lot. Y'all already know what this is, right? But now you're going to start seeing this. So what we're going to do today is we're going to spend a little bit of time reviewing week 1 through 4. We're going to mesh it all together. We are going to look at cognitive coping part 1, the cognitive triangle, and then we're going to look at how that works with our youth with developmental and intellectual delays. And then we'll have our quick friendly reminders at the end of this lecture. So let's real quick just review the flow of TFCBT. So with assessment, we do 2 really important things in our assessment that are continuous, right? Assessment always is happening. That is, we are building a sense of safety for our client, and we are also building therapeutic relationship. These 2 things I feel like I have totally expressed how critical both of these things are and how a trauma-informed lens plays a role in both of these things. If you have any questions about those, please watch previous lectures or just reach out to me. The second thing we looked at is the PRA phases of the PRAC phase of TFCBT, and that's our parent caregiver psychoeducation and parenting skills, relaxation skills for the client, and then affect expression and coping skills for emotions. And these things also, especially psychoeducation and parenting skills, are always ongoing. And so this week, we're going to look at cognitive coping using the cognitive triangle. So the first step, and often I think we've seen that the first step is always the most crucial step, or could be considered the most crucial step. Why? Because it's building that foundation, right? Just like building a therapeutic relationship is crucial because we're building that foundation of trust. So everything that we do in trauma work, it's built on identifying and understanding of emotion. So what does our client have to have with their therapist, with us, in order to create a safe place for the client to explore those emotions? Well, they have to have what? They have to have trust, right? And we've talked about how do you build trust? How do you build a therapeutic relationship? How do you build an environment in which our clients can feel safe? Number 1, it's their session. They get to decide if they're going to talk or not, right? When they're going to talk, what topics they're going to talk about. We're going to allow for breaks. We're going to offer a snack. We're going to make sure that our room is set up in such a way, not so that we feel safe and comfortable. It is important for us to feel safe, but that they feel safe and comfortable also. And then we want to make sure that we also state to them that our goal is to provide them with a safe place and that we are going to maintain safety when other people are in the room with us. Cognitive triangle. The cognitive triangle shows us and our clients how our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors are all tied together. So step 1 of cognitive coping, they say, is to recognize our thoughts. A lot of times our thoughts are automatic. They're tied directly to a really strong emotion. But it's really hard for our youth to identify a thought, right? So realistically, I usually start with, can my client identify their behavior, or can my client identify their feeling before they can identify that thought? So we are going to help our clients differentiate between thoughts and feelings. This can be really difficult, but there are many tools out there that give us an ability to help our youth see the difference between thoughts and feelings, including games where you categorize thoughts and feelings, and those can be card games, or you can make them into kinetic games, which you move and you do different things. So step 2 is to find an alternative thought, right? This is where that actual cognitive coping comes into play. This is where we are going to give the tool of cognitive reprocessing to our youth. So we're going to help them replace thinking errors or cognitive distortions or negative cognitions with thoughts that are either true or helpful. So sometimes I'll always ask, is that thought helpful or harmful? Is it true or is it false? And so first we're going to start with the thoughts and feelings connections that are unrelated to traumas, just so that we can assess to see if our clients understand a thought versus a feeling. So as we do that, we are going to be assessing for thinking mistakes, and you'll see these pop up a lot. And actually, if you have a minute, I know you all have a lot on your plate, but if you have a minute, take a look at these for yourself and maybe do some thinking and pondering about, do you utilize these thinking mistakes? When do you utilize these thinking mistakes? What are you usually feeling when you're utilizing these? What is the behavior that follows these? So you can use this for yourself so that you can better understand how to then use it with our clients. We can also use numerous books to help explain thoughts and feelings. Books are always great to use with kids. And we want to make sure that we share that Thinking Mistakes PDF with our parents. Why? Why would we want to share it with our parents or our caregivers? Psychoeducation. Remember, psychoeducation is constantly happening. So what would be the benefit of our caregivers knowing thinking mistakes? It can allow them to be the teammate, a partner for the youth when they're in their home environment or in a different environment where that caregiver is present, right? That caregiver can walk us alongside that youth and help them to identify those thinking mistakes. We can also teach them how to utilize the cognitive triangle along with the youth's knowledge of the cognitive triangle, and then that youth has a teammate outside of themselves to assist them with utilizing the cognitive triangle for cognitive reprocessing. So if you want to look at just regular CBT, we have a link here. There's also education videos and webinars that are awesome to look at for different modalities. So what do we do with clients with delays? So clients with intellectual development disabilities, they may experience those developmental delays due to trauma. So someone whose delays are a result of trauma, what can happen? What do we know can happen as they heal from the trauma? Those delays might actually decrease over time and they can resume more typical functioning. Why? Because we know what trauma does to our brain, right? We know what trauma does to the prefrontal cortex. We know what trauma does to the hippocampus, right? So if someone is experiencing IDD because of trauma, because the prefrontal cortex can't engage, because the hippocampus can't engage, as that trauma is treated, as this youth learns to feel safe, learns to trust the therapists and caregivers, learns to utilize relaxation techniques and coping skills, which calms down the amygdala, right? Then that prefrontal cortex is going to come back into play and that hippocampus is going to come back into play. Then we can work on that cognitive ability to identify thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and how they tie together. See, relaxation skills are so important because if our client comes in and they're flip their lid, they can't engage in this in a way that's going to be beneficial for them. If a client comes in and our environment does not feel safe, they can't engage, right? It's so beautiful, right? So, yeah, so that. So I'm so glad that we were able to talk about cognitive triangle today, and it was a little bit shorter of a video. Last week's video was super long. I did want to encourage you all to be super creative with your cognitive triangles. I've used glow sticks. I've used Play-Doh. I've used popsicle sticks. We've drawn out chalk on the concrete. I mean, so many different things, just depending on what my youth likes to get them to utilize the cognitive triangle. So just a reminder, the participation activity for this week, which is a quiz, is due Sunday at 11:59. Your case study application is also due this Sunday. If you have any questions, please reach out, and then keep working on that supplemental training assignment and on your integrative resiliency analysis. Please, if you have any questions, email me. You can also text me. My number is on the syllabus. You're doing great, and I'll see you next week.